Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to Charleston, South Carolina. The last time World Championship Wrestling was scheduled here, we were blown away by Hurricane Hugo. Well, we're back, and so is South Carolina, and most of all, the beautiful city of Charleston. And now, live from the campus of the Citadel in Charleston, South Carolina, it's the Clash of Champions 11, the Coastal Crush.
Welcome in to this very special Christmas Day edition of Retro Wrestling Rewind. As always, I am one half of the uncrowned podcast tag team champions of the world. I am retired professional wrestling ring announcer David Fine, alongside my tag team partner, the true Long Island IC, a man who does not collect wrestling figures.
Grown-ass man.
He's a grown-ass man. He is Alex G, man. Happy Christmas, Feliz Navidad, and I'd like to wish you a happy Festivus for the rest of us. It was a couple days ago we aired our grievances, and now we're going to air our grievances about Clash of the Champions number 11.
Coastal Crush.
Coastal Crush. How are you doing on this Christmas Day edition, man?
Better than most people, I would assume.
Yeah, I mean, the weather down here in Georgia, Bad Street, USA, the home of the fabulous Freebirds, is cold. It's been fucking raining for 2 weeks. Can't take the kid out. Can't do anything. He's getting cabin fever. How's the weather up your neck of the woods?
It's not too shabby. It's not cold up here. Well, hey, I'm wondering, has anyone tried to Google the location of Bad Street, USA? Let's get that on the Google Maps.
I'm gonna Google that in a second. We're gonna figure out if there's actually a Bad Street, USA. I think there actually is. Probably. I've seen a couple of streets in Atlanta that could be considered Bad Street, but...
Well, I'm wondering because Michael Hayes wasn't from Atlanta, though.
No, he was not. I don't understand why they decided...
He was from, Pensacola.
I don't know, but...
That's so weird. Why? What's he doing?
Take your chest. I don't know. Coastal Crush. It was in Charleston, South Carolina. They prefaced the fact that the last time they were there was a hurricane coming.
To explain why there was no fans there last time.
Yeah, it was an okay show. I mean, it was the first time that Tony Schiavone was back from his foray in the WWF. We had Bob Cottle, good old JR Jim Ross on commentary. So I mean, it was a good show.
Yeah, I always love these clashes. These clashes were always fun.
Yeah.
Especially when we watched their actual television, which at the time and for most of their tenure has been a complete mess. But it's WCW.
Yeah, I'm still them substituting some of the music. It's just ridiculous. But that's neither here nor there. I mean, we're going to be having to.
Well, obviously the Steiners can't come into Welcome to the Jungle like they used to. '89. No,
but I mean, your favorite rock and roll band, the Fabulous.
They're not rock stars.
Fabulous Freebirds. They come into their original music, but that's neither here nor there. We're going to be having actually a guy coming up in 2019 that was actually a part of building the network, and I'm just want to ask him all those questions. And of course, if you have a question that you maybe want to ask him, just tweet us at the RW Rewind on Twitter. Same on Facebook. Our website is therwrewind.com. This is our last show of the year. I mean, any New Year's resolutions that you have for the fans? Are you saying, hey, fans, I would like to watch Clash of the Champions 21, whatever the hell that was. I mean, do you have any New Year's resolutions for the Retro Wrestling Rewind universe?
I think I want to try to, and this is very important, I want to try to watch less bad wrestling.
So you're not going to watch any of the current product?
No. Wow.
No, I mean, the current product is good. I mean, I can't really...
The wrestling matches are good. It's just my issues with the current product, and I'm not going to segue too long into this, is that the show is stale, the production sucks, and the wrestling is actually really good if you watch just the matches.
Yeah.
The storylines and angles, promos are all garbage. So.
I mean, yeah. If you want to see some great wrestling, and I'm not. It's not a David Fine guarantee because that's for shit. But come up to WrestleCon in New York at the Hilton. They're gonna have some great wrestling. They're gonna have Sami Callihan there. They're gonna have so many legends. They're gonna have J.J. Dillon, Lex Luger, Tully Blanchard. Barry Windham's going to be there. Tim Horner. I know Scott Hall's going to be there. Kevin Nash. No, I'm not sure if Kevin Nash, but he's not. We're going to have Bill Atner there.
Well, Flair's going to be there, which is probably the most important Ricky Steamboat.
We're going to have Flair. He doesn't drink as much anymore, so he may not be in the hotel bar, but I'm just saying he may be in the hotel bar. It's going to be a great time. If you want to see some great wrestling, and if you want to meet us, yes, first, if you want to meet the great Alex G, and you want to see what the pretty boy David Fine looks like, don't know the booth number. They're going to be picked up. We're going to be picking the booth numbers in January. We'll post that on our Twitter.
You know, if they were smart, they would have all the podcasters in one area. But.
Yeah, I asked him that, and he didn't get back with me on that. So we're going to have to see. It's going to be. It's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a long weekend. It's going to be, of course, WrestleMania. We're going to have WrestleCon at the Hilton. We're going to have Pancakes and Pile Drivers with Sami Callihan, his promotion. You're going to the Madison Square Garden show, correct?
I'll be there for Ring of Honor. I'll be there for WrestleMania, and I'll be there for the WrestleCon Super Show.
Yeah, I mean it'll be my first ever WrestleCon. I've been to WrestleMania. I went to the one in WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans, and I wanted to go to WrestleCon, but I was like, eh. But now that we're going to be a part of it, we're gonna have a. This is I floated this by Alex G, and he said this is actually a good idea. I was surprised because a lot of my ideas are very good. We're gonna be recording. I'm bringing up all my gear. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna have fans that, if you're at the WrestleCon, if you're walking past our booth, whatever booth number that is, and you have a moment in wrestling past from 2000-ish to 1980-ish. I mean, we'll talk to anybody, but if you have a memory from wrestling's past and you want to be on the podcast and you want to say, hey, man, I love when Black Scorpion came out and it ended up being Ric Flair, or I love it when this happened or when that happened.
No one's ever going to say that.
You never know what that they loved it, that Ric Flair was the Black Scorpion.
Oh, I love the Black Scorpion.
I mean, because did you say it was Al Perez for a little bit?
Yeah, there was a bunch of different guys.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be I forget who it was supposed to be.
Oh, was this supposed to be the Angel of Death? No.
Angel of Death, yeah.
Yeah,
Angel Death.
But no, I mean, if you want to do that, it's going to be a new thing. We're going to be giving away we're going to be selling some merch, and we're going to be giving away a big prize. We can't have a lot. We can't not gamble, but it can't be like a betting or whatever it is. It's illegal in New York, so we can't do that. But it's going to be one of the raffles, and it's going to be no purchase necessary. It's going to be great. We're going to be giving away some gifts. We're going to be there Friday and Saturday. Kind of find out the fee that you pay to be at WrestleCon for the booth includes both days. So we'll be up there Friday and Saturday. It's going to be fun. It's going to be at the Hilton in Midtown Manhattan. I'm staying there. Alex G staying there. So come spend the entire weekend with us. And I know a couple people coming from Dallas, from Texas. It's going to be a great time. But speaking of a great time, of course, Coastal Crush, first match, Southern Boys. It was their TV debut versus the greatest rock and roll band of all time, the Fabulous Freebirds.
Said no one.
Hey, buddy, you were probably a member of the Rock and Roll Express fan club. Remember that commercial they used to play where you could send like $19.95 to this PO box and you get like a life-size poster of Ricky and Robert?
I still have it.
Well, I mean, I have a life-size poster of... Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But what are your thoughts on this match? Big Mama. Maybe Big Mama. Oh, yeah, handsome Jimmy Valiant's going to be there.
Handsome Jimmy. They're not together anymore. I don't know if they get along.
What?
That might be a sore subject. We may not want to bring that up.
I think that's the first thing I'm gonna be like. I think
you know what I have to do. I have to make a list of things that you can't talk about. So you don't piss anybody off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be banned from the con, and I don't want to be black because
you don't be thrown out like Marty Jannetty.
No, I'm not going to steal anything. You know, he's a thief.
Allegedly.
Oh yeah, allegedly, because I don't know. The guy that I wish was going to be there would be Abdul the Butcher, because DDP is going to be there, so I'm going to be actually trying to contact him. I'm actually going to go over to the DDP Yoga Performance Center in the next couple of weeks, and he teaches the beginners class here in Atlanta on Tuesdays at 5:30. So if anybody's listening in the area, you should go over there. It's a great gathering of all wrestling fans. I've not been there, but my buddy's been there a couple of times, and he went to the beginners class with his wife, and he said he didn't want to. He had met Paige before DDP, but he didn't want to approach him because he didn't want to mark out. But a lot of people did, so it'll be fun. I'm sure he'll be doing a yoga, yoga class every year. A yoga class, and I'll probably take that. So it's gonna be a fun weekend, but. Coastal Crush. I mean, it was. It was a good
match. This match right here was designed to get the Southern Boys over. Obviously, as we know, they're going to take on the Vignette Express at the Great American Bash. So they're kind of feeding the Freebirds here to the Southern Boys in an upset victory. Obviously, the Freebirds are on a decline. They would do some things in the not so distant future to kind of, freshen up a little bit. Well, adding. Big Daddy Dink, DDP, Rocky King, Bad Street to kind of get them, back to prominence. Unfortunately, none of that actually works.
No, I mean, it was a good opening match. I mean, I'm glad it wasn't really.
It was fine. It's perfectly acceptable.
It wasn't. I mean, speaking and moving on to the second match. The first match, second match had a former NWA World Heavyweight Champion Tommy Wildfire Rich taking on the Beast from the East, Bam Bam Bigelow, the man who had so many tattoos all over his body, with the great Sir Oliver Humperdink, in a match that only lasted 3 minutes 47 seconds. I mean, what was the point in? I mean,
you obviously want to build Bam Bam as a monster, maybe as a heel for a potential run with Sting later on in the year. They didn't do any of that for whatever reason.
He lost to Tommy Rich.
Well, yeah, he lost to Tommy Rich by disqualification. It's like, Ole didn't want Tommy to do a job here? Are you kidding me? Like, come on. Like, Bam Bam should have ate him up in 3 minutes, and he didn't.
Yeah, it was,
like, I guess they're showing Bam Bam as a badass who chokes people out.
Yeah, I mean,
whatever, dude, just haven't beat him.
I want to get your opinion. Back when they first started the clashes, they had them a lot. It's one of those things they end up having. How many clashes did they have? Like 100? It seemed like 100. It was not something. It was a lot. It was one of those ones that they kind of like put down your throat. But I mean, this match. I mean, I've met Tommy. Was
he fired up?
He was fired up. Somebody say something about firing up. It's just like.
This might be controversial. I think Tommy's better as a heel.
Yeah, he was good, but do you remember him as he was in the FBI, not the Federal Bureau of Investigation, but
I know.
And he was from I think Nashville, Italy. There was the old ECW shit, and it's just some of the ECW stuff is good, but like you said, if you really want the true ECW experience, get it on original like DVD, correct?
Yeah, you can actually still purchase those. Those are available at RF Video.
Yeah,
if you want. I mean, they're not necessarily all that pricey, but if you want like the entire collection of ECW, it's going to cost you upwards of $1,000 to get the whole set. Or you can pick up random events as you like. If you actually buy the events, like would it be Gangster's Paradise or whatever, you don't really have to buy the TVs, although you probably should and you want to, because the way their TV was shot is they did those events and they cut them up to make their TVs. So,
yeah, it's. ECW is a good concept. It's just watching it now on the network is just like.
Well, you can't watch it on the WWE network. I wouldn't even suggest that. It just ruins the experience.
I guess I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend people. Unless you've never watched any ECW and you know nothing.
Even then, I wouldn't even watch.
You wouldn't even recommend it.
No, like. go out of your way and just buy the DVD. Just, whatever shows that you like or whatever range of televisions that you want to see, I would just buy those because it is 99% the music. I don't think they really cut any angles out, but
no, they did not. But and speaking of something they could have cut out, next match it had Tom Zenk, the pretty boy Tom Zenk, and Captain Mike Rotunda. Yes, folks, they went from a captain of the great varsity club to a captain of a boat versus the Samoan Savage and Fatu. I mean, what were your thoughts on them moving around Mike Rotunda and his captain gimmick? I mean,
that was Mike's idea, from what I understand. He kind of got a deal with a yachting company or something like that. So this was like his own side deal that he got to be Captain Mike on TV, and then he got a free boat.
That's funny. It's like, I mean, it's kind of like,
That's some corny shit to do.
It's kind of like, an athlete, like a basketball player, like Michael Jordan doing Nike. I mean, it's like these side deals you don't ever think about. But I mean, what were your thoughts on this match? I mean, it was 5 minutes and 40 seconds. I mean, it was
weird because it was Fatu and the Samoan Savage, not the SST. That's weird to me.
Yeah, I mean,
I wonder if Fatu's tag team partner was hurt at the time.
I mean, I read online, in the internet, it never is wrong. I think he left. He may have left, so that's why they had this incarnation of the SST, which I mean, any of these guys I would not want to meet him in a dark alley. Just say, I mean, these guys.
I like Tama, but I do prefer Fatu with Samu.
Yeah, I mean, I think most of these tag teams are, the incarnations are really good, but we'll just have to. It was. I mean, Tom Zenk is good. Mike Rotunda.
Why didn't it go over though? Like. Obviously, you're not pushing Tom Zenk and Mike Rotunda as a tag team.
No.
You're just not going to do that, right?
No, they're not.
Like, if it was Pillman and Zenk, I could see it. But unless that Fatu and Tama are leaving at this point, which I don't know when they would leave for the WWE, or even if they would go directly from WCW to WWE, I don't remember off the top of my head. But it's like, really? This is what you're doing? Where's Paul Lee? Paul Lee was their manager. What happened?
Oh, I'm not sure, but he was in.
I gotta go back and watch that TV.
I mean, speaking of Paulie,
because he's in the next match.
Yeah, speaking of that, I mean, he was with Mark Callous. I mean, and of course, him. You know him as the future Undertaker versus Brian Pillman, and I mean, this match on paper should be a squash match. I mean, it should be just. I mean, it was not bad.
They still got love for Pillman. Like Pillman is. I mean, he's not booked as good when he was, when Flair was booking him. But I understand what they're doing with Mean Mark. They want to have Mean Mark as a potential, guy for Luger to face, which he would go on to face, I believe, at Halloween. Great American Bash.
And this was 19. This is June 13th, 1990. How long after this did he debut as the Undertaker? What year?
He debuted in November of 90.
So it was a couple months prior. I mean, it's just like, I mean, I think that was if he hadn't gone to the WWF at the time, do you think he would have been over as big as he is now?
Under the right circumstances, yeah. I mean, he's been around for a while. He's been around at this point, it's 1990, so he's been around for 6 years. Yeah. So he's not necessarily a rookie at this point.
No.
But he started to come into his own around this time. So eventually, not in WCW, because WCW had a hard time getting anybody over. So, if he would have went to the WWF, maybe not as Undertaker, as a different incarnation of the Mark Callous character, then possibly, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was...
Because he does too many cool shit. Like, he does the rope walk, and he's so athletic for a guy of his size, and his unique look. They would have found something for him.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely would have done that. I mean... It was a good match, and I'm a big fan of Brian Pillman, and he's his son is currently wrestling on the independent circuit, and he's a great wrestler. Has the exact same look as his father, but it was a good match. But the next match is for the U.S. Tag Team titles. the R&R, the Rock and Roll Express, Ricky and Robert, the Rock and Roll Express versus Stan Lane, Bobby Eaton, the Midnight Express with Jim Cornette. Speaking of Bobby and Stan, they're going to be at WrestleCon. So if you're there, buy passes to get their autograph. I mean, what were your thoughts on this? I mean, it was.
It's the Midnight Rock and Roll. You can't go wrong with putting that match on TV.
No, and
it was perfectly acceptable. Like, Rock and Roll actually looked really good here.
And I mean, according to the time cues here on Wikipedia, it went 12 minutes 8 seconds. So it was the longest match of the night. I mean, they gave him room to breathe. I mean, it wasn't rushed, and it was. I mean, they had so many good matches, and they had good matches on the Clash. I mean, that I'll give it to WCW, NWA back then. They gave the Rockers and the Rock and Roll Express and the Midnight Express time to breathe whenever they wrestled. I mean, they didn't rush them.
Well, they know it was going to be a 5-star instant classic every time they wrestled. Like, I've never seen a bad Midnight versus Rock and Roll matches. Now, I've seen, like, exceptional matches, and I've seen, good matches, but I've never seen a bad match between the Rock and Roll and Midnights. Or the Midnights and Fantastics, for that matter.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of any of those two, those three tag teams, wrestling at the same time. It's fabulous. I mean, the Fantastics, Tommy Rogers, Bobby Fulton, they're great, and the Rock and Roll Express, the Midnight Express. Do you think I've asked you this before, and we'll have to debate it till the end of time? Is this your favorite incarnation of the Midnight Express?
I like them better because I watched more of them in real time than I did with Dennis.
Yeah.
So I watched them as they happen.
Yeah.
Because I was watching during this period. So I always have a nostalgia for Bobby and Stan Lane. But watching the matches with Dennis, like, those are fucking amazing.
Yeah. I mean, and speaking of a match that was not amazing, next match, Barry Windham, Doug Furnas.
Doug Furnas can't work.
He's the world's strongest man, but he can't fucking work.
He can't. At this point in his career, in June of 1990, he can't work. And, like, it took Barry Windham everything he could possibly do to make this, to make this match anything.
Yeah.
Like, Doug Furnas looks great. He's a great look about him, world's strongest man. I get all that, but not for nothing. How many wrestlers throughout history has they billed as the world's strongest man that was a shitty fucking worker? Just about all of them.
Yep. I mean, I can't
Bill
name
Kazmaier.
Yeah. God.
With Ted Arcidi.
Yeah, I mean, I felt
Mark
bad.
Henry for a while until he got good.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of felt bad for Barry. I mean, he was a good wrestler. I mean, and they put him against
one of the best of all time.
Put him against Doug Furnas in a match on the Clash, and it's like it's match 6, so it's kind of in the middle. It's one of those matches that I think they used to call, like, when the women in the WWE would wrestle.
The popcorn
matches. They would get up. I mean, I've been known to do that. Even at a live event, I get up, use the restroom, go to the concession, go to the merch stand, because no one really gives two shits about it. And I think this is the kind
especially now that the WWE does not do intermissions.
No, they do not. They just keep on rolling. And after that 6-hour pre-show and the 5-hour pay-per-view, it's going to be fun at WrestleMania, especially since it's outside. So hopefully the weather will be nice in April in New York.
Oh, it was raining last time.
That's going to be fun. It's going to be
raining. So check this out. When I went to WrestleMania, right, it got cold and started raining, so I went inside to buy a hoodie, and they were sold out. So I had to buy a WrestleMania blanket. And I looked like a 6-year-old man with a WrestleMania blanket.
Oh, and I'm sure. Do you still have this 6? Do you have this?
I do. Absolutely, I do.
Well, that's good. I mean, I'll have to. I hope. I'm not sure. What is the weather normally like in April in New York?
I don't know. It's all different now.
Yeah, it'll be.
They could be snow on the fucking ground for all I know.
I don't know. But speaking, I mean,
they should have built a dome up here. I don't know why they built a dome up here. I'm still pissed about that.
Yeah, and I can't wait till they have WrestleMania here again in Atlanta at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. It's gonna be they're having the Super Bowl here this year, and it's gonna be definitely interesting. I mean, the last time they had WrestleMania in Atlanta, it iced over, and it was a shit show. But that's neither here nor there. But speaking of something that's not a shit show, kind of a good segment. I've been over the past like month, I have been binge watching your great YouTube show.
It is good.
I mean, I've been telling everybody, I've been tweeting about it. I've been telling people at work. I've been telling people on the street that I'm like, hey, you got to you got to watch this show. How can people, if they haven't heard of it and they've been living under a rock, how can they get to your show and subscribe and listen and watch?
So this is what needs to happen, right? You guys need to go to YouTube, go in the search bar, and type in Retro Wrestling Games Presents. Well, the first thing that pops up, so make sure that you click on it and you subscribe. You hit the little bell so you get the notifications. So we have a free giveaway, by the way, going on right now. So what you have to do now is you follow me on Twitter, which is at RW Games Presents, and you send me a picture, a screenshot of you subscribing to the Retro Wrestling Games channel, and you'll be entered into a free giveaway to win a Nintendo 64 and a copy of No Mercy.
Oh, and don't you also win one controller? Is that true? I read that
You win the controller as well, yes.
Well, I mean, hey, and this is I'm shooting straight from the hip. If you're a hot looking lady, no, just joking. There's no content, not rules, but there's no like.
No, just
you don't have to do anything. You just have to subscribe.
You don't do anything. All you gotta do is subscribe and send me a picture of you subscribing. That's it. This is worldwide. So if you're in England, if you're in Japan, if you're in Canada, Mexico, it doesn't matter. I will send this anywhere in the world.
You will even send it to Georgia if someone, if one of your followers and watchers lives in Georgia. I know one of the big fans here on the podcast is a fan of your YouTube channel, and I know he's subscribed and is trying to win the game. Of course, I'm not going to try because I don't want to seem like it's some kind of shady deal. So I will withdraw from the contest. And of course, I mean, is there anything coming up? So anything big like this?
Well, we took a little bit of a hiatus because of the holiday season, so we haven't had any videos come up in the last couple of days or so. But you definitely want to check out our Double Dragon Reloaded gameplay video. Now, what it is, it's Double Dragon, the 1987 arcade game, and it's basically a ROM hack that includes, as playable characters, Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior.
Really?
That's pretty dope.
Really? I mean, how was that? I mean,
It was fun. It was fun.
I mean, that sounds like a.
Because they have all their moves too. You can do a press slam. You can do a leg drop, atomic drop, pile driver. So potentially you and if you're Hulk Hogan, the Ultimate Warrior, hit the streets to beat up all the baddies.
That sounds like something that would be an awesome thing to do in real life. It's like, but and speaking of YouTube, it's YouTube. It's not that other tube that you can watch adult videos on. It's youtube.com/ the Retro Wrestling Rewind. We are up to episode 13, Starcade 87 Chi-Town Heat. Folks, if you can't get enough of the audio version, there's also a video version of the podcast. It's uploaded weekly. It's a great addition to the podcast. It's been getting a lot of follows and a lot of likes. And I just want to thank everybody that, of course, if you want to follow us on Twitter, we are at the RW Rewind. We are on therwrewind.com. That's our official website. And of course, on Facebook, we're at the RW Rewind. I've figured out that if you make it easy for people, and to be honest with you, wrestling fans, you gotta make it easy. No slight to them. Everything is the RW Rewind. It's going to be great. We're going to be at WrestleCon in New York in 2019 in April. But moving on Clash of the Champions 11, the next match only lasted 26 seconds. Lex Luger taking on Sid Vicious.
Now, I'm wondering if they had a time problem here.
I mean,
it seems kind of weird for this match to only go 26 seconds.
Yeah.
Luger wins via, I believe, a clothesline and beats Sid here clean. Which is weird because we know that Sid would go on to face Sting at Halloween Havoc. So why are you not protecting him?
Yeah, I'm not. I mean, it was very baffling. I mean, he was. Yeah, they must have been a time issue. Or
at
something.
least have only come in and do DQ at the very least here.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say about this. I mean, it was. Whenever I watched it back, I was like, God, that match was not very long. It's like. It was very wheel. I mean, and Lex was really good, and it was not. I guess he was in his prime back then because he was good. Sid was, well, Sid. I mean, he was. That's all you can say. I mean, it was just weird. But the next match, since that match only lasted 26 seconds, the great team of Doom, Butch Reed, Ron Simmons, future world champion. First ever black world heavyweight champion with the great Teddy Long, who will also be at Starcast at WrestleCon next year, taking on Rick and Scott, the Steiner brothers, for the NWA World Tag Team titles.
By the way, Bearcat Wright is the first black heavyweight champion. By the way,
Who?
Bearcat Wright.
Oh.
And then if you want to take it even further, Bo Brazil technically was also world heavyweight champion.
Well, I mean, they don't really bring that up in the WCW days.
Well, of course they don't, because it's WCW.
It's WCW. What were your thoughts on this match? I mean, this
match is awesome. It's probably, this card in general. You have the Rock and Rolls and the Midnights, which is a really good match, and you have Doom versus Steiners. You can't really go wrong with that. You see Scotty hit those kind of. That weird body slam.
Yeah.
Where he picked up both of them and kind of just did a backflip and slammed them, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, and the funny thing is about this, I mean, Butch Reed was great. Ron Simmons was really good. Tay Long, former referee. I mean, become manager. He was a great referee, even greater manager. And then they had the Steiner brothers from up here in Georgia, and now Scott Steiner owns a Shoney's. Mm-hmm. And Rick Steiner is on the school board of Cherokee County up here in North Georgia. So, folks, if you live in Cherokee County, just know that your kids, the future of your kids' education, is in the hands of Rick Steiner.
I don't remember if this was in this match or not, but Jim Ross did state that they both had degrees in education.
Yeah, and I mean it was one of those things. What were your thoughts on Rick Steiner? I mean, did you like him whenever he was in the Varsity Club? He was technically supposed to be a heel because he was with Kevin Sullivan, Mike Rotunda, Dan Spivey.
Rick is hard to put as a heel, I thought.
Yeah, he just seemed like he would be a nice guy.
Even when he turned to like late WCW, at a certain point he turned at the end of WCW. It just didn't work.
Yeah,
Rick is very, very likable.
Yeah, I mean, and then Scott. I mean, back then Scott wasn't, of course.
Amazing. He might have been like, he was doing shit that we've never seen before.
He wasn't on as they call it, on the gas, but now
he probably was on the gas.
That's
the accident.
I mean, folks, if you have not
allegedly on the gas,
there's no chance in hell that he's not doing something. Now, I'm just saying, if he's listening to us, I don't know. He's freakishly big unless he spends every waking moment, kind of like Scott or Kevin Nash. He's been spending a lot of time, he said, in the gym. He's been bulking up. But Scott Steiner, I mean, come on, folks. I mean, I don't have any proof or anything, but it's just common sense.
But like, if you watch the Steiners in the early '90s,
yeah, like
especially Rock, Scott in particular. Like, he's hitting Germans, dragon suplexes. He's doing butterfly suplexes into power bombs, tiger bombs. He's doing all kinds of crazy, like, Japanese moves that we've never seen before, and it's fucking bananas.
Yeah, I mean, they were a great tag team. I mean,
probably the best tag team of the early '90s. I find it hard pressed to find a better tag team than the Steiner brothers during that era.
Yeah, I mean, I would put Doom along with them. I mean, I think they're better Do you think they were better with mask or not mask, or did it really matter?
No, I prefer them with Teddy Long without the mask than versus Woman with the mask with Nitron and all that nonsense.
Yeah, man. And speaking of nonsense, the next match, Mr. Wonderful, Paul Orndorff versus Double A Arn Anderson, probably I will put him up at the top as probably, he was a great technical wrestler, a great singles wrestler, a great tag team wrestler, and one fucking hell of a good promo, man. I mean, what were your thoughts on this match, putting them...
It's funny because people keep on saying that Arn Anderson is underrated, and I've never seen anyone say anything bad about Arn Anderson ever.
No. Nope. He seems like a great guy.
Could he have been a world champion? Yeah, probably. In 1975, he probably could have.
Yeah, I mean, I think back then he would have his gimmick and look would have definitely gone up. I mean, late 70s, maybe early 80s. I mean, if Flair hadn't come around, and dominated and been like,
he's such a good promo.
He's and
his matches are fucking amazing.
I mean, and his spine buster, he's just
spine buster, DDT, everything would look sharp, everything would look good.
Yeah.
At least we didn't get to see his ass in this match because Orndorff pulled down his trunks in this match, but the camera's on the wrong side.
Oh,
so no butt action from Arn Anderson on this match.
Thank God. And I mean, anything else that you like to say on this match? I mean, it was.
Well, you got Paul Orndorff versus Arn Anderson, which on paper that could have been, 4 years prior, that could have been a main event anywhere in the world. It's just Paul Orndorff, is definitely a decline here.
Yeah.
He's trying to make a comeback. And he has the neck problems. Obviously, the one arm is noticeably smaller than the other arm. This is not Paul Orndorff circa 1986. So, there's definitely a big difference here. But Paul Orndorff, got the victory over Arn here in a non-title match. So, they really kind of have high hopes for Orndorff here.
I mean,
a lot of oldie guys on this show.
Yeah,
Tommy Rich, Orndorff.
That's not. And then we get to the main event. I don't really understand this. I mean, it was the Junkyard Dog taking on Nature Boy Ric Flair for the title. I mean, JYD.
JYD is also an oldie guy. So.
He won by disqualification. What was the? I mean, I know that you said that there was a.
I think they cut this match short too because. Did you see how fucking gas Junkyard Dog was? He was fucking winning something fierce.
And I know you said that Flair was not a fan of the Junkyard Dog, and that he didn't want to. So, what was? Was there? Have you read anything? Is there some kind of not angle, but I don't know why? Why would they have this in the main event? Why would?
They're running like they brought JYD in as a top guy, and they were hoping that he would draw, but this is not JYD circa 1984. This is JYD 1990, which seems to be a lot of WCW's issues. These guys, they still have the opinion these guys are still top guys. JYD was basically lower mid card at the end of his run in WWF.
Yeah.
So to bring these guys in and think they're going to be, you put them in main events, it's just a weird way to think. Where the focus should have been on Luger, Sting, and Pillman and your young guys. You're bringing in Junkyard Dog here. I'd much rather see a Pillman Flair match here.
Yeah, it was a solidly booked, good show, but the main event, this
is the go home for Great American Bash. I mean, the crowd was hyped. Go back and look at the crowd reactions. The crowd was hyped. The crowd enjoyed it. All 4,100 of them.
Yeah,
they just did 4,100. You know what I mean? So that's kind of issue. The crowd seemed excited. This sets up a lot of stuff for Great American Bash 90, which is one of the better WCW pay-per-views during this era. So
yeah, it was
like this show could have been even move a couple of pieces around. This show would have been excellent.
Yeah, but they didn't. So what were your overall? If you could give a grade for this show, what would you give it?
I would say probably 5 out of 10, just mediocre at best.
Yeah. It wasn't the best Clash. I think the best Clash of all time will be Clash 1. That was a breakout for Sting. We have a lot of
clashes to go through, so.
Yeah, there are a lot of clashes, but, this is the last show of the year. So, in any parting words of retro wisdom that you would like to part on everybody before we wrap up another edition and kind of turn the calendar where the first episode of 2019, which will be coming out next week, will be the Bunkhouse Stampede 1988 from your home city, your home venue. your thoughts and any words of wisdom as we close out another calendar year and look at 2019.
I think the one thing I want to see less of in 2019 are people on Twitter, fans who are trying to be heels on Twitter. Like, they have a Twitter persona. That's weird to me.
Yeah,
that's really like, you just take some time out of your day, just look yourself in the mirror and just ask yourself, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that it's like you're trying to get yourself over on Twitter. It's if you can't if you can't get yourself over in real life, you know, I don't know. And then, you know, coming up in the next couple of days, I'm going to put up a poll. I did put up a poll on Twitter. It was 50-50, so it's a push, as they would say, I guess. If they about interviewing, you know, the wrestling fans coming in and interviewing or being on the program. We're going to do that at WrestleCon. But I got another poll I'm going to be putting up there. How would fans like, and either yes or no, or maybe, having more than one Retro Wrestling Rewind a week? Folks, there is so much content, so much great wrestling and bad wrestling that we can cover in 2019. You know, of course, we have Bunkhouse Stampede coming up next week. Then we have a couple other shows, and then we're episode 20. It's going to be Championship Wrestling from Florida. It's Battle of the Belts. That's a great show. What are your thoughts on that show? That's coming up in a couple weeks.
It's very interesting. I don't think a lot of people talk about that, so that's why we're talking about it, because, you know, Championship Wrestling from Florida at the time was, you know, definitely in decline. This is I believe this is post suicide. So for Eddie Graham, so, you know, we'll see. You know, if they can keep it together or if they can't, which I find that era for them very, really fascinating. But again, it's a show that's overlooked, that no one talks about. So we're going to talk about it. Yeah,
it's going to be a great show. I mean, and speaking, after that, we're not booked up. So folks, if there's a show, if there's an angle.
Bash 92.
If there's a
Uncensored 95.
If you want us to talk about the incident with Dusty Rhodes in the bat and him lining up to be the Midnight Rider and all that, him riding a horse in an arena.
WrestleMania 11.
Yeah, I mean, just tweet us at the RW Rewind. You can email. You can go to the website therwrewind.com. I mean, you can look us up on Facebook. We're at the RW Rewind on Facebook. Made it easy for you, folks. What do you want us to cover in 2019? We have a couple of shows already booked coming up in 2019.
Best of Too Cold Scorpio.
The best of Sam Houston.
Who?
Sam Houston. I think isn't he going to be there at WrestleCon? Maybe.
Never heard of him.
You would, if he was at WrestleCon, you would interview him or you would talk to him. You would want to have him on the program, correct?
No, I'm going to hide in the bathroom because he's a killer.
Hey, you know, you only live once, I guess.
Well,
yeah, I don't know.
That's to continue to live, too.
Yeah, I know. But before we end the program for 2018, going to 2019, once again, how can people follow you and watch your YouTube channel? I mean, folks, you need to do this one last time before we end the show for 2018. Yeah,
please subscribe so I make money. That'd be awesome. You can follow me at RW Wrestling Presents on Twitter, so make sure you do that. All right, I'm a good follow. And, you know, on YouTube, just in the golden search bar and type in Retro Wrestling Games Presents and follow us there.
Yeah, I mean, it's
we have 251 videos. We have over 100,000 views, and we have a little bit over 1,000 subscribers currently. So
that is a lot of stuff and a lot of content. Yeah, folks, it's the holiday season. It's coming up on New Year's. Just, give it a listen or give it a click, give it a watch. And folks, it's been a great year for Retro Wrestling Rewind. We started the new podcast with the great Alex G from Long Island, and of course, yours truly, David Fine from Bad Street, USA, in Atlanta, Georgia. I thought, hey, I'm going to give the fans and the listeners of the podcast probably the greatest gift that they've ever gotten. It's one of those ones they're not going to return. And folks, I hope you weren't disappointed. Yeah, well, yeah. Hopefully you're not disappointed in this episode. It's a special Christmas Day edition. Folks, if you're listening to this in the morning, after you listen to this, Go spend time.
No,
with
you
it.
need to listen to us while you're opening your presents.
You should do that. You should put it on the old surround sound and just blare it. But if you do that, you know, your family may not like you. But after listening to this, just go spend time with your family, and we'll see you back here in 2019. So, for the great Alex G, I am David Fine. At least I wish you a happy holidays. We'll see you in 2019, where we cover the great Bunkhouse Stampede 1988. That'll be our first show of 2019. Man, folks, it's gonna be a great 2019.
That show sucks.
We're gonna be doing a lot of shit in 2019, folks. You got to follow us on the RW Rewind on Twitter. It's gonna be an epic year. We'll see you in 2019.
This is Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream, the buckle, the boot, the prestige, the money of the Bunkhouse Stampede. Being the baddest of the bad, being the bull of the woods, if you will. 25, 30 men stampeded into one little bit of ring, you understand, with one thing in mind: to hurt somebody, to kick somebody's booty, to twist their arm off and put their ankles up in the chin. And many mornings I got up dwelling on the fact of being the 2 times winner of the Bunkhouse Stampede. How am I going to do it this year, when last year I had to feel around, see if my nose was still on my face, look up in the morning and see if my ears were still on my head. My eyeballs in the socket were playing steady on my mind, because I knew Dusty Rhodes has to be the Bunkhouse Stampede champion for the 3rd time. If you will, for your hockey fans, it's a hat trick. You understand? It's a hat trick. And Dusty Rhodes now comes at you with this in mind. Anywhere, any place that on the marquee you see the National Wrestling Alliance presents the Bunkhouse Stampede, if you want to just feel a little bit of how bad it is to be the baddest, to be the bull of the woods, then and only then, buy your ticket, walk in and sit down and watch Dusty Rhodes become the bull of the woods.
To your story, but this you don't wanna be at. This ain't no home sweet home, it's a home sweet misery. We knew when we got here, they tried to put us away, but when they seen us walk down the street, they ran the other way.